What a game. What a f***ing game. My heart, my voice, it's back. Both of them are back. Oh, bloody hell, what a game, what a result. And to think people were calling game over at half time and we're done, our season's over. But it's not. And we're back. And we're in the top four. And if results go our way, we could be second on the ladder within the next week or two. So, all I can say is, go to bloody Lions and hit that bloody theme music now. Hello, listeners. Are you all well? I reckon you might be. We are. Tonight, we have 4 hosts. 2 girls, 2 boys. 2 members of my family and 2 who are not. But we all have one thing in common. We're all bloody excited because we bloody won against the bloody Swans. Joining us, firstly, is the youngest of our hosts, young Abbey. Hello, Abbey.
Hi.
How you going?
Good.
Did you have fun today?
Yep.
I'll come back to you in a sec. Also joining us, as always, and we've established that this man is the most famous member of our team. We all know who he is and we all love him. Al McGovern. Al, how you going?
The champ is here! The champ is here! The champ is here!
Ash, Abbey, how are we?
Yeah, good.
That's good, mate.
Abby's gone shy again. But we're not alone. And I might be a little bit biased, but probably the most beautiful of us all. Okay, the second most, because obviously my daughter's more beautiful. Sorry, Deb.
I was going to say, come
I
on.
was about to say, I'm pretty sure Abbey beats me in that.
Yeah, but I've just probably got to be biased here. But somebody who was actually at the game today and probably didn't have much of a voice for a little while afterwards, but
No.
still jumped on the phone to give me a phone call to let me know she's going to be on. Hello, Deb. How are you going?
Hey, Smithster. Hey, hello, Smithy.
Oh my God. Apologies to everyone if I sound a bit husky. That was an intense game. I think the only other one that I've had that's been that intense live in recent memory was the Richmond elimination final a couple of years ago. And my voice is shot a little bit.
Had shades of the famous Geelong Lincoln McCarthy game, didn't it? Really?
Oh, that was
a good game too.
I reckon this one, for what it's worth, was probably a little bit more tense than the Melbourne game recently.
So much more tense.
I know, I was a hell of a lot louder at the end of it.
Oh,
yes. Yep. All right, well, before we get into everything,
yep.
A quick shout out to our very good friend Nadia Gashi.
Yep.
She's still having a little bit of trouble accessing us on Apple, which we're still having issues with, and we now know what the problem is. There's a problem.
Oh, good.
Made a bit of a change in distributor during the week, and I don't know why I didn't put my finger on it so earlier, because it was working everywhere else, YouTube, Spotify, and iHeart and everywhere else. It's just Apple wasn't gelling with it. It was taking the episodes but not letting them play. So I think it's a formatting thing. So Nadia just sent a message straight after the game. Hey, guys, there is no way I can miss your podcast, especially now. She's and then just had a little bit of a mention about how Apple's down, which we knew about. And I just thanked her for her support, and she said, that means a lot. You guys are great. I love your podcasts.
Yeah, it's good feedback from Nadia again. It's good.
Yeah, so we love you, Nadia. We love your work. And again, straight away when we put her story up on the Instagram, she was onto it with a nice little love heart react as well. So, yeah, what a game, eh?
Really. Yeah, and it's got to be said, this is the earliest we've ever recorded post game before. This is about an hour and a half after the finish. So
literally just as I walked in the front door.
Yeah, it's fresh in our memories.
As my old mate who sits next to me at the Marvel Stadium games, Don Fay, might say, it's an emergency podcast.
Yes. The lid is off, team.
It's off, you reckon?
Oh, how can it not be? 7 in a row. We just beat the favourites. I was saying to you, and I think I said it to my dad as well before game, that I thought this game was going to be the home and away game of the season. Yeah. And for a large chunk of the game, it didn't look like it was going to pan out to be that way. No. We had a great first quarter, horrible second quarter, and then a pretty slow third for both teams. And then
the third
exploded in the fourth.
The third was one of wasted opportunities for both teams, I thought.
Yeah, for sure.
But interestingly, late in the third and throughout the final quarter, our efficiency inside 50 went up dramatically and theirs went down. So I had to very quickly rewrite my notes because I had a few scathing things to say about how because we were down at like 30% efficiency inside 50 at one point in the game.
Oh, it was so frustrating to watch.
We looked like a different team at like different quarters of the game. Like it was just crazy. There was no consistency. It was all over the place. We were good. We were bad. We were good. We were bad.
At one point, it looked like we were doing everything we could to not kick it straight. I mean, admittedly, there was wind, and the wind was horrible both ways.
I'm glad you brought that up too.
Because there was one kick that Will Ashcroft made, and it literally went, like, it should have gone forward with the power he kicked it out. It's just gone straight up. And everyone's like, where the hell's the ball gone?
I remember that one.
Oh, so yeah, the wind was really weird today. Like, it was very swirly, and it'd go for, 5 or so minutes and then kind of die down. But it did definitely have an impact on kicking accuracy for both teams today. Yeah. Not just in front of the scoreboard, but elsewhere on the ground.
On TV, it was really noticeable, but I was thinking to myself, was it just the pressure or was it the wind? But I'm glad you cleared that up because that makes a lot of sense now, because one of the things I was pretty hot on during the game was the amount of kicks that went out on the full from both teams.
Yeah.
Particularly when I guess having shots at goal or trying to centre the ball inside forward 50 as well. There's a hell of a lot of out of bounds on the full. And
they'd be travelling one way and they'd just sort of go off to the side. So,
and there are a few boundary throw-ins that were a bit funky as well.
Yeah, can confirm the wind definitely played a factor today. And anyone who says otherwise wasn't there and they're lying to you.
How you going there, Abbey? You got something you want to add?
Not yet.
Bloody teenagers.
Hey.
Yeah, so like I guess for us, there's going to be a bit of a narrative from some people in the media, from some people on social media and whatever that, well, of course we were going to run over the top of them in the last. They had no players left on their bench and they had injured guys on the ground and this and that. But you know what? We had that against Gold Coast earlier this year and they didn't run over us as much as they tried.
Yeah, look, they lost 2 important players fairly on. But if you think about it, with the sub, they were really only one down on the bench.
Yeah, well, they subbed pretty early, but Corey Warner actually was quite good when he came on. He's that guy that lives in his brother's shadow, obviously.
Yeah.
But I thought he was pretty pivotal in periods when they were hot.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Which really annoyed me because it was like, when are we going to bring our sub on to have the same sort of impact? And I thought when we did bring Bruce on, and it was good timing in the end, because it did help change the dynamic of the game for us. I thought he did really well.
It was a good call, but they didn't want to risk obviously doing it too early in case someone did get injured, and then it's like, well, you've taken someone out, and now we're a man down.
Yeah.
When you've got two sort of top of the ladder teams playing, you are going to get a lot of bruising football anyway.
Yeah.
Yep.
And a lot of impact injuries from hits. Amadi took out a couple of our guys unintentionally.
There was definitely a bit of a niggle today.
Yeah, I'm not trying to get Joel Amadi suspended. I'm not David King. The Big Chief's probably going to be a bit sore. Looks like he might have some sore ribs, and he had a HIA as well. But Zorko copped one
so
very early
Shadow,
in the game.
didn't he?
Yeah, Shadow kept going. He was pretty like full of beans.
He was off injured for a bit.
Yeah, but when he came back on, he was full of beans. Like in the end, he was really pivotal.
Yeah.
The Swans, Hayward stayed on for the rest of the game despite being pretty well hampered. I reckon Papley's broken his leg. Personally, I've had a broken leg, and I can tell you that's what it looked like to me. When he tried
it didn't look good.
Yeah, when he tried to put weight on it, if you've got like a hairline fracture or something like that, you can put weight on it and you can walk around. But that looked like a pretty clean break to me. It didn't look like ligaments.
Just going to point out a hairline fracture is still a break.
Yeah, I know, but hairline. I'm talking about like a
snap.
Not quite a Michael Voss, Nathan Brown type break, but pretty
like compound fracture.
Yeah, compound fracture.
Yeah.
That's the word I was looking for. But yeah,
it shocked me when he was trying to get off the ground too. Like just how little they stopped the play until like he was already halfway to the bench. Like that was very odd for my take.
Yeah, considering how hurt he was as well.
Well, they've done it a couple of times. Like Hugh McCluggage was the one who had to tell the umpires, hey, we've got a man down behind play when Stas went down 2 weeks ago because he'd taken the ball. He's like, yeah, I'm going to wait until he's off the field before I keep going. They've been, and it was the same when Zorks went down in the first quarter. Like there was play going on around him. They've got to get better. If a player is down, just pause it for, just either let them clear the ground or let them get like up and out because that wasn't a good look.
The whole thing was pretty confusing. And I swear Longmire at halftime said that Will Hayward was out as well.
He definitely said that. Yeah, and the commentators. The commentators kept bringing it up, and I think it was just a lack of available players, and they needed that big body there.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know how like every game has that one guy in the cheer squad or sort of there in the main supporters area, it always yells out, he's been doing it all bloody game.
Yeah, it's good for a laugh.
I'm that guy that's always, stop the bloody game, umpire, there's a man down.
Yep.
That's
good.
Yeah.
It grinds my gears when it gets left for too long. And then, it goes all down the other end and they don't call it. And then, it's coming back. And then he's still on the ground.
Yeah, and it's even more annoying.
His head looked at.
It's even more annoying when we've got the momentum and it comes down our end, then it stops and the other team gets the reset.
Yeah.
So they've done that a couple of times, more than a couple of times this year. And I haven't really noticed it in other games. To be fair, I don't watch the other games quite as much as I watch ours. But it's definitely a problem at the Gabba.
Yeah, no, look, it's a problem everywhere.
I don't know enough about the other ones. I can comment about the Gabba and it's a problem.
It's a frustrating thing that needs to get addressed because I watch every single one of our games. I watch every one of our VFL games usually. And I might watch maybe the Friday night game, whoever's playing. And it's a pretty consistent issue from all the games I've seen where it just doesn't get, like, you just stop the ball. You stop it for, someone getting a scratch on their nose and a slight bit of blood. But this guy's landed on his neck and the doctor's struggling to pick him up. And now the ball's coming back down and like, no, play on. It's like, well, that seems a bit ridiculous.
And with 4 umpires as well, you'd think they'd be on top of it a bit more, a lot more.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be up to the players to be like, hey, can we just wait till an injured colleague is getting, like, is off the field? Like they have to be better about this, and it's been shocking, and it's been shocking all around. Like it's not just for our players; it's been.
I've seen them wait, like, the example I gave before about it going all the way down the other end and then back up. I've seen them wait till the ball gets back in within like 5 meters of the injured player before they finally call it.
Yep.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's definitely a massive issue in the game. And if we all remember back to that time, Lockie Neal had to walk up and touch an umpire to tell him he had blood pouring out of his face as well.
And then everyone was up in arms and like, she should be fine because he touched an umpire. And he's like, he was touching an umpire to just be like, hey, mate, there's blood.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw it there from where you were in the ground, but Al, you would have seen it, and Abbey saw it when early in the first quarter when there was a boundary throw in down in the forward pocket, and Chuck went up against Brodie Grundy in the ruck contest.
Oh, that was interesting.
That was a little bit of a height difference, that one.
And you know what? Chuck he didn't get the hit out, but he probably won the contest. He bodied Grundy out of it. And
I did think that was really strange. And also, slightly later on, I think some of Charlie's essence rubbed off on Grundy because he took a specky on someone else later on. Grundy
did. Yeah.
And you don't see ruckman taking speckies on people very often.
Yeah. Grundy's sort of like a midfielder who contests the ball ups, really, isn't he? He's not really a ruckman per se, but he's a good player though. But I thought Big O held his own for the majority of the game and won the last quarter comprehensively. Second most disposals for us in the last quarter, as well as getting a lot of clearances, a couple of intercepts as well. Big Osif, as I called him at one point.
Oh my god!
Oh yeah,
yeah. He had a great game. It's a big challenge going up against Grundy, and I thought he did a great job.
Yeah, that's right. And interestingly, so we didn't have the usual Channel 7 commentators who just drool over certain ruckmen and not certain others.
Well, that's going to be pleasant to re-listen to then.
Yeah, I actually liked it a little better this way.
The commentators we had today said both of these guys are probably the two most informed ruckmen at the moment. Or words to that effect anyway. Maybe it was like they've both been brilliant in the last month along those lines. So that's 2 weeks in a row we've got that now where we've had, away from the usual commentating crew.
Well, I will comment on this because this was going to be one of my ticks, but obviously it's not now because we're discussing this. I've got so many more. But Oscar had game high clearances of 9 of anyone, even with rucking. The next highest was Cam at 6. And he only lost the hitouts 29-27 to Grundy. I'd argue that of the two of them, Oscar outperformed, and I would argue that Oscar was the better ruck today.
Yeah, by the end of the
because
game,
of everything that he did.
Yeah, by the end of the game, he probably got the points up to 3/4 time. I would say it was probably ineffectiveness was probably just marginally in Grundy's favour.
Yep. Just comparing to Oscar had meters gained of over 440 something, and Grundy was only sitting at 160.
Yeah, but see, where Grundy was winning, it was more getting the effectiveness of his taps to his teammates.
No, I understand that, but I would say comprehensively, including the whole game picture, it'll be interesting to see what the commentary is around this, given Grundy's kind of considered to be the all-Australian lock for the ruckman.
Yeah, I still think he is, but I'd love to see Oscar get mentioned in the conversation because every year he's always ignored. He's never put in anyone's top 10, top 15, and yet he rucks 90% of the game, most games by himself. He gets to every contest. Yeah, his work rate is amazing. It's like probably bigger work rate than Eric Hipwood and most of the midfielders, I would say. And
well,
of course,
he's already won the stat of being our longest serving ruckman, not in years, but in games.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
So that's already an impressive stat.
I would say even including realistically, probably since the late 80s, including the Fitzroy and Bears eras as well. Because it's like trying to think because the Bears had a lot of guys come and go, Alex Oshenko, Mark Micken, so forth, and John Ironmonger and wasn't at Fitzroy for very long, and Matt Rendell played a lot as a key forward as well. So he's like that's probably 40 years of what's the word I'm looking for? You know what I mean. There's 40 years of history where he's probably the longest serving of them all. So
which is really incredible if you think about it. And like it's a very hard, demanding on your body kind of role. And there's not surprising that guys in that position don't last super long because it's a massive toll on their body. So big ups to him. I mean, just even that. I mean, he's also incredible for what he manages to accomplish in the games. But being, and hopefully he's got another good, 5-6 years on him as well because he's still fairly young. He's still under 30.
Yeah. Oh, look, if he's under 30, he might even have 6 or 7 years. Like Gawn would be up around the 33, 34 mark, wouldn't he? And he's still sort of.
I think both him and Grundy are like 32, 33 or something like that.
I'm not sure how old Grundy is. That's something we need to probably look up. Not that it really affects us too much. Just more for closure, right?
But also he's a lot younger than both of them.
30 years.
Yeah. So, Abbey, what do you think of the Big O?
He's a gun.
What else do you think about him? What makes him a gun?
He's a great player, obviously.
Yep. All right. Good chat.
His guns make him a gun.
But sweet.
She's a lady. A few words.
Nah, his performance today was great.
I'm with you, Abbey.
Yeah, definitely. So,
can we just touch back on Shadow Brains? We mentioned him a bit earlier. I just wanted to mention there was a couple of different things that happened with him, and it seemed like a good opportunity to bring them up.
Yeah.
So he took some really important grabs like right at the end.
He did,
which set up a bunch of things. But there was one thing that kind of really solidified because I was on the fence with him for a while. Like he was capable of doing some good things, but we hadn't seen much of him because he was mainly a sub and he'd come on for a quarter or a half. But this is his second week in a row of playing a full game. And there was a moment there where Rayner, who I'm going to touch on a bit later, was out on the wing and he went to take a kick to try and set up something inside 50 and it was smothered. And you could tell that it was so close to bouncing and becoming like a rebounding turnover there and going down the other end and scoring a goal. But Shadow jumped on it so quick, split second.
Yep.
Took it, gave it back to Cam. Cam reloaded and then locked it and sent it back down 50 properly. So he gave Cam 2 opportunities there and he saved Cam's butt big time.
His game sense is just it's improving obviously, but it's just really incredible for a guy that's played the amount of football he hasn't played yet. What's this, his 5th AFL game?
Yep.
Yeah, and I mean, like, second full one.
Yeah.
He's played literally, like, bits of change here and there that I'm really impressed with him. And I'm of the thought process of if you're going to bring a guy in, bring him in completely.
Yeah.
Yep.
And also bring him in for a patch of games.
Yeah.
So that kind of ties into our debutant as well. He was, Henry Smith was subbed off. He wasn't having a huge impact in the game, but I really hope that he doesn't get dropped back down to the VFL. I'd want to give him a couple more games to kind of prove himself.
I mean, Logan did kick 4 in the VFL though, so
yeah, I don't know. You could juggle the mix-up of the team, but I just think it's probably not good for his confidence to drop him straight away. And he was nervous. It's his first game.
Yeah,
I'd really like to give him a solid block of maybe at least 1 or 2 more, even if he's the sub for one of them or whatever. Just mix it up a bit. I just think dropping him back down would be a shame.
I'd agree.
I think the thinking behind bringing Henry into the team was that extra height because Sydney are a bit shorter in their key position defenders. I mean, Dane Rampy would be a halfback flanker at any other club, but he plays as a key defender.
Yeah.
Who's that other guy they play down back as their key defender? I thought he wasn't too bad today, but his name escapes me at the moment.
They don't have a lot of tall guys down there. Regardless. Even in
I'm assuming you're not talking about McCartan and you're talking about, is it Cunningham?
No, Cunningham's sort of a small mid defender. He's probably a little bit taller than Chuck. He normally plays on him actually, but
like even regardless of injuries, like if they were to pick their best lineup of the guys they have on their list, their first selection guys are still not that tall for key defenders.
No.
No, not at all. And I think that's what the the thinking was to try and expose that a little bit. We didn't really. There was a lot early on. There were a few kicks they were grubber kicks that went into the forward 50. That had we had Lincoln McCarthy and a little mosquito fleet down there, they would have been awesome. There would have been crumbed goals everywhere. But look, that's at the end of the day, that's neither here nor there because that's not who we had in our team, and we can't have him.
Oh, well, for that first quarter, I thought Joe was going to have a career best game and kick 10.
I thought he was.
Hell.
He was on fire, wasn't he?
He got 3, nearly 4. I was like, he's going to have a 10. He's going to have a 10-goal game. It's going to be incredible. And then he kind of just petered off and was quiet for the rest of it. But I was like, they're too short down there. He's dominating. Like it's going to be a record. And then he just kind of disappeared a little bit. Disappointing.
Yeah, I thought he was going to go for Fred Fanning's 18-goal record at one point, but that will have to wait for another day.
I don't ever see that getting broken somehow.
I thought Zach Bailey was pretty hot in the first quarter as well. He petered out a bit, but he popped up every now and then.
He had some cool flashes, but
it's probably
certainly again. His work rate was certainly up compared to other games. I think he's settling in a little bit more now back from that injury. So if he just wants to keep improving his form and just like perfect it for grand final week, that'd be.
He's the kind of guy that you want to keep in the team to keep him warm and fresh because he's like just finals in general, not even the grand final. He's just capable of just incredible feats through that all of September.
And when he goes, he just goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. What did you guys think of Rayner today?
But
he played amazing.
Pretty bloody good.
I thought sorry.
No, you go.
Last week I thought, and I can't remember if I mentioned it or not, I thought he started to really show some of that sort of beast stuff, like breaking tackles, busting through packs, and today he did it a hell of a lot more. I think this is his time of year now.
He just keeps on improving.
He does.
He was just a joy to watch today, and not even everything that he did on the ball, like that was brilliant, but some of what he did off the ball in just shepherding players to allow our other guys to get through it. I would argue that this was probably one of his top 5, if not top 3 games he's ever played for us.
Yeah, there you go.
You can tell he's just physically strong guy. Hey?
He's so thick set. He's an absolute beast,
and that goal that he got, I want to say it was in the third, where it just came out of absolutely nowhere. Like nobody knew what had happened, and then all of a sudden it was Cam's goal. Like that was just
that was a big momentum breaker, wasn't it? The Swans are sort of peppering and not really getting anywhere.
I feel like that's what got us back into the swing of things, and I'm going to take that off my ticks now.
I'm sure you still got about 15 more.
I've got a fair few.
Yeah. I guess before we get into Will Ashcroft, because I'm sure we've all got some stuff to add on him. So Harris Andrews, we touched on earlier, copped a bit of a head knock. He copped a knock in the side, probably in the ribs or the lower rib area.
Jeez, it was noticeable when he wasn't on the field. Hey, a couple of guys stepped up and it was good. Nothing too severe happened while he was gone, but you could feel the difference.
It was a heart in the mouth moment, wasn't it?
Yeah.
There was a point there where I was like, "Oh my God, don't tell me we've lost another defender." Like.
Just before finals.
I'm like, and not
our most
even
important player, for sure.
Yeah, and I would argue our most important player. Like Kitty was difficult to replace, but we've found something. Like every single one of them, we can do something and we can sort of jig. Harris is, in my eyes, irreplaceable in our team.
100%.
Well,
who do we bring in to replace Harris? We can't.
I think he's more important than Lachie Neale to our structure.
I'd argue that's true.
He's our most important player, and a lot of people in the media who aren't run by their masters, a lot of them come out like Will Schofield, for example. I know I bring him up a lot. He was a premiership defender, so he'd know what he's talking about. Every week, he just comes out and says Harris Andrews best defender in the comp.
By country mile.
It's hard to argue against that. It's particularly this year. I mean, who else is there? Stephen May?
Alex Pearce from the Dockers, who's a pretty handy key defender himself, has said that he rates Harris as the number 1 not just key defender, but defender full stop in the comp.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess it's just a bit of watch and act on the head knock. I think they'll do everything they can to make sure he's okay. He did pass the HIA.
Which is
Thankfully.
Yeah.
Yes.
imagine
Massive.
if we didn't have Harris. Oh my
Yeah,
no,
but-
no, we're not. Touch all the wood.
Yeah,
We're not
but
doing
so
this.
did you guys notice for a period when he was off the ground, Eric Hipwood was playing on Will Hayward?
Yeah, it
Yeah, I
was.
did notice that. He was well out of position to.
Yeah, he had no idea what he was doing, but it's not his fault. He's never practiced for it before.
No, he clearly got told to do it, but wow,
Yeah.
he looked a little lost there.
Very lost. But 2 seconds. What on earth is with his haircut?
I
Oh,
reckon.
that's what you were talking about.
Terrible today.
I reckon his mum has told him he's got to go back to his 2016 first season haircut.
It
Oh,
looks
long with the headband.
shocking. Like it took me when he got the mark in the first quarter that was didn't get the goal. I was just sitting there like, who the hell is that? I'm like, no, that can't be Eric. Like, I'm like, I see Eric's numbers, but that can't be Eric because what the hell has he done to his hair? Not a good look.
A few of the boys got haircuts earlier this week. Shadow Brain got his cut really short as well, and
No,
And-
don't like it, boys.
and
Don't
Hippie
like it.
and a couple other boys. Yeah. Hey, at least he hasn't got a bowl cut.
You know, my partner also has like very strong opinions about haircuts on
Mhm.
players, and
Mhm.
particularly the AFLW players. She'll watch AFLW with me, and if there's a girl running around with like a ponytail just flopping around, she goes
Mhm.
nuts. She's like, "How do you play like that?"
Because it's so easy for it to get
Yeah.
caught in like someone else's thing or
Yeah.
Put it in a
and do you
bun.
know how much it hurts if you've got a ponytail? Abby will know. If you've got a ponytail and it's loose and something gets caught and you just got yanked back.
It's the worst pain ever. You can just feel all of your hair's ripping.
Oh.
Well, Abby can speak from experience because she had her hair pulled by a teammate at training one night.
By a teammate.
Ooh.
Yeah, we should forget about that one.
Oh wow, teammate.
Yeah,
Bloody hell.
shout out to T-Boat, who's probably not a listener.
No, so 100% hair should be up, but also be better with your haircuts, guys, because not impressed.
Yeah, everyone should just be better with their haircut like Brandon Starcevich.
Right, that's a haircut you can set your watch to.
Bloody oath, mate. Bloody oath. and just for everybody's benefit, I currently have just had a fresh haircut between the game and the start of this episode. Thank you, Abby. You did a great
You're
job.
welcome.
Yay.
You got direct inspiration from Starcevich just for that one, didn't you?
Well, yeah, look, I was looking at like my two favorite three favorite sports people in the world. And I was like, well, Brandon Starcevich, obviously, Ashton Agar, and Stone Cold Steve Austin. So, you know, I've got to emulate the three of them, right?
Yeah, Gary
Yep.
Lyons, your favorite spin bowler, you know.
Hey, yeah,
Oh.
he's actually Gary the Goat, Nathan Lyon is playing
course.
cricket in England at the moment, and apparently he's loving it up in the north of Lancashire and nice, dark, cold, wet, miserable part of the world.
Well, we're going to need him back at the end of the year, so don't stay too long.
Yeah. He's going to be needed to play against India this summer. Yeah. So yeah, Harris Andrews, I guess, is a watch and act, but I reckon he'll be fine.
Oh yeah, he finished the game.
Yeah, he wouldn't have come back on, and he was amazing today as well.
Yep.
I don't know what his intercept stats are, but he got some really amazing ones. So Abby,
Yes.
tell us a lot about Will Ashcroft.
Have you got a
Okay.
notepad in front of you, or?
No.
Oh, come on. Let's hear it.
Yeah,
Oh, well, to start off with, he had a really good game today. He was probably one of the best on ground. He was very consistent with everything.
Mhm.
He just didn't have a very good last quarter.
No, he had a pretty poor last quarter, but when we were getting belted around the ground in the second and
He
part of
stood
the
up.
third, he was the guy that just kept going, kept trying to keep things moving. And how was his hair today, Abby? Did it move at all?
No, it stayed in the same place. His
I
hair
am
just doesn't
ashamed-
move. It's perfect.
I am ashamed to admit I got he and Kai mixed up a couple of times today. There was a couple of things that I was like, oh my God, Kai, and it was Will, or oh my God, Will, and it was Kai, because oh my God, the hair.
Hi, Will and
Yes.
Dev all look the same sometimes.
Oh,
Start calling
honestly.
you BT.
Oh, that look.
Listeners, if
I
you
don't think
saw the
we
look
can
I
be
just
friends
got.
anymore. Like that's a friendship ending. Like,
Nah,
no.
you're stuck with me. You can't get rid of me now.
BT and Underwood. Wow. What does that make me and Abbey?
Oh.
Well, remember, if you recall, Al,
JB?
you were referred to as the Dennis Committee of the show at one stage.
Oh,
I'll
I
take
like
it.
that.
I'll take it.
Yeah, centimeter perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I won't say Abby's the Daisy Pierce of the show because they have
Please
a bit
don't, please don't, please don't.
they have a
That would
little
be an insult to Abbey. Please don't do that.
they have a little bit of a
There's a
love-hate
mystery there.
relationship.
I like Abbey way too much to allow you to do that.
Yeah, no.
I don't-
That's a
I
hard
don't
no.
like Daisy Pierce.
Anyone
Okay, we can join the club.
anyone who says no to a photo with my 7-year-old daughter can take a very long walk off a very short
Yeah, that was
piece
such
of wood.
poor form.
Yeah. Oh, well, she's the Eagles' problem now, and no one else's.
Ooh, Daisy. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
she's got to clean up Michael Pryor's mess over there. Have fun
Yep.
with that, Daisy. Yeah, I felt when the Swans were dominating the game, we still sort of had our chances. Obviously, the efficiency inside 50. I mean, our midfield were getting absolutely flogged for probably 2 quarters.
Yeah.
But we were still getting the ball inside 50 more than what the Swans were, funnily enough, at one stage. But I felt, and this is what we were doing earlier in the season, it wasn't anything to do with Las Vegas or Tom Fullerton's rhinestone shirt. We weren't taking the right option
No.
going forward. And again, it was that goal kicking efficiency, which Deb's cleared up. The win was terrible, and it was horrible for both teams. Both teams burned so many chances going for goal.
But to be fair, like some of it, like that miss of Cowell's in, I want to say early in the 4th, where
Yeah.
he had all the space in the world. There was not anyone anywhere near him. And instead of continuing to run for goal, he kicked and missed. You're just like, that was just.
Yeah.
I made the comment to someone
Pure
halfway
adrenaline.
through the game that it felt like we were playing stupid footy. Like we weren't playing badly per se. I just felt like we were playing stupid footy. Like every time we kicked, it just seemed to be straight turnover.
Yeah, I think the
Like-
pressure got to them. I think a lot of guys heard footsteps. They panicked a bit. But
Or the sun was just really in their eyes and they couldn't
Yeah.
tell who was Lions and who wasn't.
yeah, the commentators brought that up a lot, saying that the sun is a big issue today.
Yeah.
But the other
110 games at the Gabba are terrible because we had the lights on at the Gabba the entire game today.
Oh, okay.
Because when you were in the sun, it was sunny, like it was beautiful. But when you were in the bit of the ground that the shadow started with and then slowly creeped, it was so dark.
Yeah. It's not look, for actually playing the game, it's probably not a great time, but I think it is a really good time slot for families.
Oh,
And
yeah.
It's a great game to bring the kids to,
But-
because obviously it's, they're not too tired by the time it all wraps up and everything
Yep.
like that. So
Yeah,
I think they are essential, but you got to time them, and thankfully we don't have too many of them. A lot of the Sunday games we have at 4:30 or whatever in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Like,
It's just the timing of it in Brisbane and
Yeah.
just where the Gabba's placed.
Yeah,
The
it's the
sunrise,
only,
sunset. It's terrible.
probably the only real big downside to the family aspect of that is that Sunday is junior footy day on the sunny coast,
Oh, is it?
yeah.
where we obviously have a big supporter base as well.
We still managed to get 33,000 to the Gabba today. So
Yeah, no, that was great, and yeah, another sellout.
Yeah.
So
I'd
Big
argue
shout-
this one was more of a sellout than the last
yeah, well,
one.
there was about 3,000 more than the Adelaide game, wasn't there? So
Almost
Big shout out
4,000.
to
Yeah.
my mate Ben from the Sunshine Coast, who's a Swan supporter who was at the game.
yeah,
He was slowly getting a bit more depressed as the game went on because they seemingly had never-ending injuries. I had to text him and I said, "Oh, Rampy's been subbed out," and then he was getting sad, and then I was like, "And Papley's out too now." And then there was a stage where we all thought Hayward was out. I was like,
Mhm.
Hayward's out now too. He's just got
Yeah,
madder and madder and madder as the game went on.
That's going to be a big issue for the Swans. They're going to need to get some guys right before the end of the season because they've now lost 3 of their last 4 games.
Yep.
One of those losses was to the 16th place team. But what's more telling for me is that the other 2 losses were against teams that are now currently in the top 4. And you've got to be able to, it's all good, well and good to be 3 games clear and beating all the, everyone else, but the teams at the top are the ones you've got to beat. Like we found that out last year. It's all well and good. It's all, you've got to beat the teams around you, which we didn't do a couple of times and we didn't do when it counted the most. And I think
like the grand final.
And Dane Beams, mate, shut up and stop carrying on about Fagan not being a good coach. Like, come on, mate. Just if you need attention that much, get another dog.
Got a lot to say, doesn't he?
Funny about that.
Oh, the Fremantle Demons game just finished.
Yep.
A 50-point win to the Dockers. Congratulations.
Yeah, I figured as much would be the case.
I mean, I wish it wasn't quite as much because, well, percentage.
How's
Priorities
the
for
other game,
us.
how's the other game going? Because we need
68-61.
Yeah, I'm watching
Carlton's favour. Yeah, that's why my great gaze is off to the side. I've got it on the other screen.
So
I'm watching it on the
15 minutes left in
TV.
the third quarter. So
Yeah,
still plenty to go.
Abby's got it on the TV. She's set up in another room to me. So,
God, a North win would be incredible, wouldn't it?
oh yeah, it'd be so good. I mean, I don't want Clarko to ever win any games of football if it's avoidable, but I don't want Carlton to win any either. So, and also we need Carlton to lose. So,
We've had some pretty good results go our way this week, though. Like the fact that Adelaide had a win over Essendon. Like
Collingwood
just some of them,
again.
Collingwood losing. Like it just Geelong getting beaten. Like it's just given that little bit of an extra buffer to us.
yeah, and that sometimes you just have to, when the season's like this, you've just got to hope and pray that those results do go your way. And I kind of was half barracking for Melbourne to win so they could knock Essendon out of the 8, but there's still time, isn't there? So I already know that one of our co-hosts here is going to have some very positive things to say about this guy, but something I noticed with Hugh McCluggage, and it's happened the last few weeks, he's getting caught with the ball a lot.
He's a bit of Bailey in him with that one.
Yeah, but on the same hand, he also won a free kick very close to goal, getting another guy from the Swans. I can't remember who it was. I don't care who it was because we got the goal and that's all I care about. So it's kind of like,
It was. He had like 3 chances to get it out, and then he dragged it back in, and then he was like, bang.
Yeah. So
he's
kind of balancing it out, but his last quarter and a bit was just unbelievable. Him and Lockie Neal in that last quarter probably won the game for us, and the Big O as well.
I feel like Lockie was really quiet up until the last quarter. I felt like I didn't see him.
He had 3 disposals, I think, or something, or 5 to three-quarter time, John O'Brien said. There was a point where for 45 minutes, he'd only touched the ball once.
They locked him down really well.
Yeah.
They had 2 taggers on him.
Yeah, so Taylor Adams had him for the majority of the game. And probably, or when you look at the end of the game, you can probably say, take away the result of who won and who lost. Adams probably had the win overall, but because he did get a goal as well. But Neil was better when the game was hot. And when the game was there to be won or lost, he
stood up when we needed him to.
Yeah, he did what good players do, and he did what captains do.
Yep, that's fair.
Our 2 captains had good captains games.
Yes,
I'd argue Harris was a better performer than Neil. But
and our former captain had an amazing game as well.
Blinder.
And he's another watching that because I noticed he had some soreness in his cramp towards the end of the game.
Yeah, Amadi fell on his leg
in his calf. Oh yeah, that was it. So he hurt his buttock with that.
Oh, okay.
I was so worried that he was out of the game when that happened because he looked like that was brutal. I don't know how much you guys saw on the replay, but that was brutal live.
Yeah. Marty's a big boy, and again, it was a football thing, nothing to see here. But late in the game, he had a mark just outside 50, and you could see he was cramping up in his calf. And he's a guy who's had a lot of calf issues, not recently, but in the past. So that's a watch and act. I mean, look, we can probably cover him if he misses a week. Beacon
At least
can come in, but
at least if he's not here, like if it's next week, it's only the Gold Coast on the Gold Coast. So it's not like he's got to fly anywhere.
Yeah, well, that's a bonus. And look, he'll do everything he can to get himself up because he's an absolutely competitive beast. And, we're playing the Suns.
He
loves playing against the Suns.
Yeah, he'd never miss a chance to give it to
his year this year has been just out of sight for someone his age.
Yeah, no, he's great. And here's a fun fact. Abbey's now taller than him. And she's she's still only 13.
I'm very tall.
Also, while we're talking about Zorko, little shot at Alistair Lynch here. Don't call Dane Zorko little fella.
Yeah, well,
come on, mate. What's that about?
Well,
we all know he's short. You don't have to be that mean to him.
They used to be our mosquito squad. So
they called him little fella or little guy or something like that. I was just like, wow, that was unnecessary.
Did you go? Oh, Deb, you wouldn't have seen it, obviously, or you might have seen it on the big screen, but you would have seen it on the TV when Henry Smith got presented his jumper by John O'Brien.
Yeah.
Like, John O'Brien's pretty tall. Like, he's about, 196 or something like that. And Henry just towered over him.
Yeah.
He's so tall.
He's a tall man. And, Abby, I believe you're a bit of a Henry Smith fan.
Yeah, definitely.
I feel like he has the chance to develop into potentially a pretty good key forward.
I got a photo with him.
The only critique I have on Smith for his debut game is he had a couple of opportunities and he was more concerned about doing the team thing than just taking the shot. And he was desperate to pass it off. And I mean, he may have been instructed to do that. We don't know what his coaches.
Yeah, that's right.
Like that. But it felt like he had some golden opportunities to have an impact and to kick his first goal potentially. And he opted to try and give it off to literally anyone else that was around him. And it resulted in, not even other people kicking the ball. Usually it was a turnover.
Yeah, look, that's probably nerves. And
for sure.
Yeah, we said about Darragh Joyce a few weeks ago, coming into the AFL is a massive step up. Yeah. And, you're playing a full game. The pace is different, especially when you're playing, a team like Sydney. It's helter-skelter. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
If he plays next week, for example, I think he's going to be a, hell of a lot better for the experience.
Yeah, well, he's had his first win now.
He's had his Gatorade shower.
He's getting more used to the speed of the thing. So, look, I could understand if they dropped him, but I would really like to see him get another chance to try and prove himself. Yeah,
and look, I guess either way, if they drop him, he'll be back. Yeah, Fagan spoke really nicely about him before the game, about his form over the last couple of years and that sort of thing, and was really glowing in everything he had to say about him. So he obviously has a soft spot for him and wants to give him more opportunities, you could tell. Whoops, we had a little technical error. We'll be right back in a sec. So, Mr. Grilled, whatever your name is, or Mrs. Grilled, Miss Grilled, Ms., Master Grilled, whoever owns Grilled, and if you're listening, we want to advertise your product and eat it.
Not
gift
opposed.
Cards to Ash's address.
Yeah,
there's a Grilled in my town, and it's pretty good. The first time Abbey and I went there, we got lost trying to find it because it was a bit obscured, but yeah. So I've got Bruce as the sub in my notes to talk about next. That was huge when as he was running on the ground, you could hear it through the TV.
Oh, the amount of people that we had around us who were obviously in the members areas guests were like, why are they booing their own player?
Every bloody week.
It's Bruce, people. Bruce.
One of the most beautiful things in football in 2024 is Bruce Reville swinging to his left. and she's not preferred, but he's not preferred is better than most people's preferred. But also, I noticed Big Joey
Yep.
drop one onto his right foot and kicked it 45 at one point today as well on the right.
Yep.
Incredible.
Yeah, for a
Shooting
bloke,
star moment.
yeah, for a bloke who's never kicked any more than about 1 meter with his right foot before, I saw it and I was like, I don't believe it, but geez, I feel good about it.
Joey
Mate.
had some moments of brilliance today.
Yeah, look, it was just Joe things today. There were some times where you sort of scratched your head, and there were other times where you're just jumping up and down, punching the air, screaming, which I did multiple
He
times.
gets so lucky with his bounces compared to some other guys, hey?
Yeah.
Oh,
So that's something I wanted to bring up, speaking of the bouncers.
Mm.
And Deb, you're at the ground. You would have noticed it more than us. It seemed to me like the surface was really hard. And there were a lot of trampoline bounces where it bounced right well over guys' heads.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's all right. And obviously some of the impact injuries may have been, like Papley's, for example, it was an incidental thing, but the hard surface probably really contributed to that as well.
Yeah, it definitely seems like it was harder than it's been in a little while. I mean, you saw that photo. It looked, to begin with, and didn't look like it had anything. Yeah, didn't look like it had any moisture trapped or anything. It just looked hard. But yeah, the bounces definitely were a thing. I'm not sure how much of that was just purely the surfaces, though. The wind played a bit of a factor, like genuinely played a bit of a factor there. I watched something get caught from the lower deck and float its way up over the roof again today. So
Yep,
that tells you a little about what the wind's going.
Just going to jump in quickly. Al does have to leave us.
Oh,
I do, yeah. I've been cooking dinner all afternoon for the kids. I've got to serve it up before early bedtime. I've got two very young kids who are very hungry at the moment.
Yep,
So
that's all right.
Sorry to interrupt, Deb. I just wanted to give my player of the week, and then I'll jump out and let you guys all finish together.
Too easy.
So my player of the week, not the best player of the game, but player for me that had the most importance. That felt through the game. Cam Rayner.
Yep.
Understandable.
Yeah. Several guys in the stats did a lot better than him. Oscar, McCluggage, Zorko, a few guys like that. But I felt that he really opened up the game several times when there was a bit of stagnation going on, and he had some really important moments, including both of his goals were at very important times.
When we needed him, he showed up.
Yeah, and we did touch on him earlier as well. I think we're all sort of glowing on his game today.
And he's a player that I love and I get frustrated with. And it's because I know he's capable of games like this, and I'd love to see them more often. And I've said that a few times this season. So I think he is getting better because he has surprised me a lot this year. So, yeah, my votes go to Cam Rayner, and I really hope to see, especially going towards September, more performances like that.
Just before you go, can we do what the guys on another podcast do and say that we manifested him to become better?
Oh, yeah, that was all me.
We
had no direct communication, but he knew. He knew that I wanted it.
He knew. Yeah. All right, mate. You go and look after your kids, and
I've got to feed up the kids, so
we'll cover the rest.
Yep. So pleasure talking to all three of you.
Yep.
And I'll talk to you guys through the week, and as we prepare for the Suns game on the weekend.
No worries.
Sounds good.
Go Lions.
Go Lions, mate. Have a good one.
See you guys.
Hi, Al.
All right. Well, I've lost my place in my notes where I was up to.
You're so silly.
We're talking about how hard the ground was.
Yeah. So, well, I'm glad you cleared that up as well, because on the TV, all it looked like it was just the surface was rock hard. The ball bounced too high. And I've been really hot on a lot of grounds this year being too hard, the surfaces. I think there's a record amount of ACL injuries across the whole league this year.
Yeah, it was definitely harder than it is sometimes, but I wouldn't say it was harder than Optus last week.
When I walked out onto the Gabba a fortnight ago, I actually thought the surface was really, really good. Comparable to the MCG and maybe slightly better than Marvel. And I think both of those grounds got pretty good surfaces anyway. I haven't been to any other AFL grounds for a few years. So that's that. So something I do want to bring up, and you probably haven't seen it yet, Deb, but I got to see it live during the game. To our fans, half a game of football does not a season make. All right? Just because the Swans outplayed us for probably half of the game today, stick with the boys. Don't come out with, we need to drop everyone and bring in the whole VFL team. And somebody said that. We've won.
Did they watch the VFL game this week?
Hey, it's just a common thing when we're not in front on the scoreboard. And it's not us, it's every club supporters. And this goes for, it doesn't matter who you support. And I know we have some listeners who aren't necessarily Lions supporters.
Yep.
They just like what we do. And I've had a bit of feedback on that. But the boys won 6 in a row coming up into this game. They've now won 7 in a row, but they'd won 6 in a row. They all know how to play football. They all know how to play good football. The coaches are good coaches. They know how to coach. Just because we got outplayed for probably 1.5 quarters, I'm going to be realistic, doesn't mean they all forgot how to do those things. We've played the team who are 3 games clear on top of the ladder going into this game, and they're there for a reason. All right? So stick with the boys. Don't turn it into a shit fight on the internet just because we had a bad quarter and a bit. Anyway, move on from that. I'm going to have a
Before we do move on from that, just as a follow-up, so for anyone who was commenting that obviously didn't see the VFL team, because the Swans VFL side was 50-25 ahead at quarter time.
Quarter time, yeah.
And we only just got back in front with not too long to spare. So maybe make sure you're watching what you're referencing. But number 2, in terms of today, we're actually in front for longer in this game. Not much longer. So 61 minutes versus 59 minutes. So but we were in front for longer. And the fact of the matter was, it was a tussle between 2 very good teams.
Yeah.
Like, if we're absolutely blowing the best teams out of the water, that's not good finals preparation.
No.
Like, this is the best sort of game for us because it shows us, number 1, where we can improve, but number 2, the fact that there are things for us to improve on. We don't want to have a game where we walk away thinking, oh, well, we're the absolute top dog of everything. We don't have to do anything, because that's when you get lazy and complacent, and that's when you start losing.
Yeah, that's something that our club has probably done in the last few years on occasions as well, got a bit complacent. Not so much against the top teams, but against the lower teams. But so you obviously watched the VFL.
Of course I did.
So we will get to that after we're finished with this. So I used to like Luke Parker. For some reason, I just don't like him anymore. I don't know what it is. He just got on my goat today. Every time I saw him on the TV. It just
doesn't have anything to do with the fact that he took a guy out in the VFL?
No, I did. It had nothing to do with that. Just, I don't know. And when he kicked that goal, the way he carried on and sort of gestured a few things to the crowd just got on my goat. I don't know. I used to think he was a nice guy. Now he just looks like a flog.
He had a bit of floggish behaviour today. I wouldn't say the whole game, but it wasn't a good look.
What did you make of Heaney today? I thought he had a 50% good, 50% shocking game.
Yeah, he wasn't anywhere near as influential as I was expecting him to be coming off the suspension. Yeah, that was just a bit. He had some absolute moments of brilliance, and then he had some absolute moments of what the hell. But also, what is with him trying to tackle people and literally grabbing them by one arm and dragging them back behind like that? He's better than that. So what? He's just decided, oh, well, I've been suspended. It doesn't matter if I'm a good bloke anymore. Like, that wasn't a good look.
No, it's probably something that is going to get picked up on by those footy panels that dissect every single centimetre of the game. So
I was about to say, if you say the MRO, no, it won't, because he's been shit scared this week.
You know what's funny? Mr. Christian's son made his VFL debut for Collingwood this weekend. And wouldn't that have been funny if his son had done a dangerous tackle?
I feel like at that point, like, there really should be a conflict of interest thing here going on. Like, that's just
Yeah,
Like
well,
he's
look,
always been partial to one particular team and certain things to do with that one particular team. But
it feels that way, but I don't
you've
know.
got
I mean,
family playing, you should not be in
yeah.
any position to
Well,
make
you look at
calls.
how many guys in the commentary boxes, board members or assistant helpers or whatever at various different clubs. You know, Mark Prosciutto, Eddie Maguire in the past,
Lee Matthews,
Lee Matthews is
let's share the love.
yeah. I was getting to that. And there's a lot of others. I mean, yeah, Alistair Lynch does a bit of work with us, does a bit of work with the Suns. He's probably one of the least biased guys in the commentary, and you got as well, Danny Zorko does a bit of boundary writing from time to time as well.
Yeah.
He's actually pretty good. I think he's got a future career in that.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of conflicts of interest. And I don't know what the solution is, because if we bring in all these people that aren't footballers or ex-coaches or whatever, then all the fans have a whinge and go, well, he's never played a game of football in his life. So there's just a no-win situation with that.
I don't know. I don't know what the solution is.
Mm,
Can't just be a lawyer because, oh my God, what they're doing with AFL House is ridiculous. So.
yeah. I kind of feel for Laura Kane, because it's clearly obvious when she gets interviewed, she's been told to toe the party line and not really say what she thinks. And you can see she just gets caught out so often. Like Mick Moldhouse and Jared Healy absolutely tore her to shreds over the weekend because they came prepared and she just had the party line in her head and
zero sympathy for her. She gets paid way too much money not to be prepared. Like that would my biggest problem with Laura Kane is I don't think she genuinely has the experience to be doing the job that she's doing.
Yeah, I don't know what her actual her workplace experience or qualifications are. I know, look, she played 100 VFLW games roughly. So she's played a bit of footy, obviously different level and different sort of whatever. But I don't know. Like, is she a lawyer or is she? What is?
I think she's got a law background.
Yep.
But I think she's also been just. This is going to sound terrible, but an AFL house hack for a long while, and quite frankly, she was a lawyer once upon a time, but. When she's been in AFL house for years and years and years, but I don't think she has the experience. I don't think she's old enough.
Yeah, she's only
she's
about
my
30,
age.
Yeah, she's 36, yeah.
No, she's 34, 35. She's legitimately my age.
I think she said she was 36 when she was on the front bar a few weeks ago.
No, she was born September 90.
There you go.
So, quite frankly, you can't have someone that is running the sport and in the second highest position in our league who doesn't have the basic life experience to hold that sort of position. And she doesn't.
Yeah, look, I'm not convinced Andrew Gillen's the man for the job at the top either.
All you have to do is look at the way she handles interviews. She was talking about how I want to say it was Triple M or might have been Sen Footy Feed live cross from one of the games. And she's like, oh, we're all about transparency and we're, we want to be about transparency, but we're not going to tell you about the umpire decisions and we're not going to break things down because that takes too much time.
Or because Andrew Gillen said we look like fools when we try to explain things, and
you get paid too much for it not to take too much time. Be better.
Be better, indeed. What at the ground? What was the general feeling with the umpires today?
There were a lot of very interesting definitions of the 15 meters.
Oh,
to be fair, both ways. Absolutely both ways. I'm not we benefited just as much as the Swans benefited. Particularly one end of the ground was very, very differently umpired to the other end of the ground. Overall, they didn't get booed off, so that generally tells you a lot.
That's a good sign. So that 15-metre thing is something I've been hot on all season. There's kicks that look like they go for 3 metres and they get paid as a mark. And then there's other ones that look like they're 25, 30 metres and not 15 play on.
Yep.
So something I noticed that got called a lot today was a touch play on. I was going to make that a stat for today, but I stopped counting because it just got ridiculous. But overall, I felt like we had a bit of the rubber to green. There were a few things that we got that I thought, oh, there was
Line
a lot
ball
of,
calls.
yeah, there was some holding the ball calls that I thought we got away with, where we didn't get pinged for it as well.
Yeah.
And I
But
think
there was also stuff like it was very much there were shocking things or things that should have been called that weren't called both ways. So I thought it was fairly. Maybe we got the slight rub, but I thought overall it was fairly even.
Yeah, in the third quarter, there were a few square ups early on in the first half of the third quarter, but for the rest of the game, I felt we probably were marginally in front, and I think we ended up just in front in the count. Don't know the exact figures, but I did look earlier, but I don't think it really matters. End of the day, we won the game, so it doesn't really matter too much.
Yep.
So something you would not know yet until you rewatch the game, which I know you will.
Tonight, that's my plan. Yep.
4 or 5 times.
Definitely don't do that. What?
Jared Healy in the commentary in the first quarter, he said, Ashcroft needs to tighten up on Goulden. He's doing too much damage. 2 minutes later, Goulden needs to tighten up on Ashcroft. He's doing way too much damage. Hutto called him out on it, which was good. But, yeah, like you need more than 2 minutes to change your mind, mate. That's, you know. But at the time, Ashcroft was playing really well. He loved saying big lift from the big O today. That was one of his favorites.
A couple of them do that. And you're like, can we get some, can we just be a little tiny bit more
creative?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's got a real beanie's bonnet over Nick Blakey's kicking too. I'm pretty sure he brought it up that he turns it over a lot and it's costly at least 30 times in the first quarter.
Yeah.
And pre-game. And as it turned out, his kicking did turn over the ball to us a couple of times, which resulted in a goal or two, which is handy.
The end-to-end stuff from like the Swans were ridiculously good at it today. We had a couple where it just seemed for a period of time where we could not take a mark or we could not kick the distance to our player. Like we were just sort of dropping it in front of them short, but yeah, I feel like the ones where we could have taken opportunity off the back half, which has been a real strength of our game.
Yeah, it has.
And it wasn't us, like it wasn't the Swans outplaying us. It was us, as I said, playing stupid footy. We just made the stupid decision.
Yeah.
But thanks to Blakey, we had a chance to do that a couple of times. So
see, he really is a Fitzroy boy, true and through. So
I don't think he likes Fitzroy that much.
He wasn't even alive when they were around, so whatever. Errol Goulden had a brother playing for his team today, Eric Goulden. Anthony Hudson and John O'Brien regularly referred to Eric Goulden.
Oh, God.
And when Papley injured himself, he couldn't even walk. Like the guy was in serious trouble, and Hutto goes, "Oh, he'll be all right. Doesn't look too serious." And then there was this big long silence, and I think everybody else was saying to him, "Mate, he's in big trouble here."
How'd they go with Chad and Corey?
No issue because they don't look anything like each other as well. I didn't really notice Chad Warner as much as what the stats.
I noticed Corey more than I noticed Chad today.
As much as what the stats would show, I didn't really. He wasn't. I don't know if it was just because the commentators were mentioning, or he doesn't really look like any of his teammates. Sometimes you get a lot of guys that look a bit the same, and you kind of forget some of them. But yeah. Well, I guess you've got some ticks for us.
I do.
You want to get into them?
I do. Okay. So I guess we'll go a little bit in order, but my first tick was Joe's start. So he just came out absolutely firing. 3 goals in the first quarter, but those first 2 goals, it just felt like he'd been told, just go for broke. And he actually did. He did die off, obviously, after quarter time because he didn't kick another goal after that. But that, I think, is what gave us that spur to even get anywhere near that first quarter performance. Plus, given the win that was going on, the things that he sort of hit and the couple of goals he scored that were just from nowhere and should have missed, and then he missed the one that he should have got. But yeah, Joe's start. If we want to start like that every game, I'd be more than happy to.
He did have a great start.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, and did we get excited in our house when he kicked those early goals, Abby?
Just a little bit. There was no screaming.
No.
That's okay. I was in the dining room to start with because I had lunch in there with some family friends and some family. And I literally made it to like the first point Sydney scored. I was like, nope, going back to my seats, not doing this. I'm like, I can't cheer properly here. So I made it just in time for Joe's first goal. But, yeah, that was electric. So
I was serving up lunch myself at that time, and I just walked in and sat down as the first bounce happened. So that was good. Yeah, okay, keep going. Sorry.
Yep. Number 2, so my second tick is Hughes' back-to-back goals, which I think really wrestled the momentum back to us in the second half. And I mean, any chance I can give Hugh a tick, I will take because he's my favourite player.
Oh, of course.
But I feel like that was the turning point of the match.
Yeah, that and the Rayner ones, like there were 2 sort of moments that's really swung things in our favour. And realistically, we probably should have won by more if we had have kicked better. But
Taking some more of our opportunities. Archie, I'm looking at you. I love you. Come on our podcast.
Kai Lohman. Yeah, Cal, we are still trying to poach you from kick-ons, and Nuxie can just do kick-ons on his own, and we'll have Cal. So,
yep.
Yeah, one of these days.
Yeah. So third, well, actually, I'll make no. I'll go in the order that I wrote them like I was going to go in. So third was Darcy Wilmot. I think he had an absolute blinder of the game. So he had 18 disposals today at 88 or 89% efficiency. Took 7 intercepts for only 1 turnover. All of our other defenders had quite even intercept turnover ratios, even Harris. And took a few game-saving marks in the fourth quarter. Like he was there was one right in front of us, and I reckon he would have heard me with how loudly I cheered for him.
There are a couple of quick passages within like 30 seconds of each other. He pumped the ball inside our forward 50. It came back out pretty quick, and he got it again and pumped it in again. Just got him. It just gets himself, like, for a guy of his age, his footy IQ is amazing. Gets himself into the right positions 99% of the time.
It was a real joy to watch him play today.
Yeah.
Like a real joy to watch him play. And in a game where we weren't necessarily taking the most of our chances coming out of defence, he was an absolute shining light.
Yeah, no, he's a gem. We love him.
Yep. Taken to my other defender, Harris Andrews is an absolute beast in defence. And I'm just talking about Harris's game in general here. It was really noticeable when he was off. But just what he did, like it seemed every single time they were sort of coming back, there was Harris taking a mark and just like and settling things down. So really enjoyed watching him play today in spite of everything else.
I love it when he takes the one-handers as well. They're just so good.
Not as good as Oscar's one-handers. My God, Oscar's hand must be like made of super sticky stuff or something, because some of them you're just like, how is that a mark? So, yeah. And then lucky last, and I don't think it can be anything else, Cal's goal in the fourth that put us in front for the final time.
Yeah.
that was enjoyable to watch. It was good to see him keep his head straight and actually kick it. But just to do that with the amount of pressure that was on with that time period to go, because there was only a couple of minutes left to go, it was all helter-skelter. Cal gets the final tick.
Yeah, and he bloody loved it too. And I got a text off Al as soon as that goal happened. It was just a whole bunch of love hearts, and I knew what he meant.
Yep.
I knew exactly what he was talking about.
Yep. And
Yeah.
can I have a little tiny bonus one? Because it's not really a tick, but it should be a tick.
For you, anything.
The cheers when Charlie kicked his goal and listening to Country Roads. It's loud, but I reckon that's probably the loudest I've heard it sung. And he cut off the music a little bit earlier than they usually cut it off, and we all still kept going,
Yeah,
and we
we
still
heard it.
all kept going.
We could hear it on TV.
It was loud, and it was good to see everyone get behind him. Even the Swans fans got behind it. Which, obviously normally if an opposition player is lining up to kick a goal, you boo them. But just to see everyone sort of get behind him after the week he's had was awesome.
Yeah, no, that was great. And I jumped up through the roof and carried on, and I was punching the air and yeah, whatever. But then I looked down at my watch and my heart rate was only 58. What the hell?
Yeah, I'm not willing
I'm pretty
to
sure my heart skipped a few beats during this game.
I'm not willing to admit what my heart rate got up to. All I'm going to say is that my watch thought I did a 3-hour workout and I didn't get up out of my seat. Actually, I got out of my seat twice, so that should tell you a lot.
It was a big heart stopper. My watch went flat just before the end of the game, and I'm pretty sure that's when my heart was really going. William,
Yep.
As Jack Higgins famously once said, it was beating a million seconds a minute.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Well, Al unfortunately didn't have his crosses prepared because it was so soon after the game. So we're going to do 2 each.
Do I get bonus points for having that?
You do.
When I literally got home and was on the podcast 3 minutes later.
I know. Hey, you and I, Al as well, cooking dinner for his kids, but you had to get home. I got a haircut, and we all made it on time.
That's okay.
Abbey had to set up her laptop in another room, and
I had so much troubles with it.
Oh.
It had to update. My laptop wasn't charged. It wouldn't let me sign in.
And it's always the case. It all happens at once. You're just I have one thing to do. Just let me do the one thing, and then you can have all the problems later.
The updates are always the worst.
It doesn't rain at pause. All right. Who wants to go first with a couple of crosses? Abbey, you got anything for us?
Not that I can come up with at the moment.
I'll have a think about 2 things that you didn't like about the game today. And Deb, you got anything?
Our turnover game. Our turnover game was horrific. It seemed like, particularly in the second quarter, every single time we kicked it straight to them. So, and I'm not picking on one particular player because everyone was doing it.
Yeah. And so something with that, I wrote in my notes, turnover game. And then I looked at the stats at one point in the last quarter, and it was only two turnovers difference between the 2 teams. And I made a comment to someone on a Facebook post, it feels like we're really terrible in the turnovers, but it seems to be happening to both teams.
Yeah, very much so.
But yeah, obviously the Swans got a bit panicky when we got our run on late, so that's probably where the stats evened up a bit. But yeah,
100%.
Turnover game, that's not going to win your finals.
No.
Yeah. All right. What else you got?
I hate to do it to him, but Cal Archie, mate, if you've got the ball and there's no one else around you, take the time to run in closer and take the shot. Don't spray it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, that's just pressure, I think.
Love you. He got a tick for being the game-winning goal, but also he gets a cross because that was just there was nobody around. He could have taken a little bit longer and just settle. Just
Yeah.
settle.
All right.
Take the shot, kick the goal. Kick straight.
Hmm.
Straight. Between the big ones, guys. Big ones.
So I'm going to just give across to the injuries across both teams. Both teams had injuries. Obviously, the Swans got more than us that we know of. Because really, there's not much I'm unhappy with. But yeah, just the fact that there was, probably 6 or 7 injuries across the game. That's a lot for one game of football. Not a lot you can do about that. And let's having a quick look. Quick. Probably the other thing too, a lot of the goals that the Swans did get looked like they were really easy goals. Like they looked like they had our guys out of position, or the transition from back to forward or were wing to forward or whatever looked really easy and simple. Again, that's something we're going to have to work on a bit coming into finals. And we can get exposed at times with teams transitioning the ball.
Yeah.
There
was a couple of times when the transitions happened and everyone was just standing around, looks like, with their hands on their hips or pointing. And I'm like, well, that doesn't do anything. Go chase the ball down.
Or jogging. There was a few times. It was back to like the early season games where, and I'm not going to name players because we know who they were. We've all watched the game now, where there was a couple of the guys who were the usual suspects early in the year, just jogging, waving their arms around, pretending to be corralling an opposition player when they're about 10 metres away behind them.
Yep.
But they did work on it and improve it.
Yeah, that's true. They turned it over in the last quarter, but it shouldn't have gotten to that point.
Yeah. All right, Abbey, you got anything?
I still can't really come up with anything to add on to the stuff you guys have said. I think you both cleared it pretty well.
I love how positive you are, Abs. It's amazing.
All right. Well, before we get into our best players, Abbey, do you want to give your personal TikTok a bit of a plug? Because that's going really well for you at the moment. Yes, you got it?
Yeah, I was just checking.
Yeah. So tell people how they can find it.
You can find my TikTok by searching up Jasper Fletcher.
All right. All one word. And also, obviously, our one, it's We Are the Pride on TikTok. We're doing really well there. We Are the Pride on Instagram. We Are the Pride Brisbane Lions podcast on Facebook. And Patreon. It's free to join our Patreon. We have some videos of myself and the lovely Deborah having a bit of a chat. And I put our VFL preview up 5 minutes after the game finished. So I'm sorry about that. I had some issues with Microsoft related businesses. Had all sorts of hell getting the most recent episode uploaded. It didn't go up until Saturday afternoon, but the support from everyone has been amazing. And the episode.
What was that for?
What happened?
Sorry, there's a 50-meter penalty. I'm just trying to keep going. Sorry, I'm just getting distracted by the other football game, guys.
That's all right.
But we all know
the same thing.
We all know I'm an absolute nuffy, so
that's why we love you. Yeah, all right. Well, so we'll get our players of the week. Abbey, you want to go first?
Sure. Well, my player of the week has to be Dane Zorko or Will Ashcroft.
You got to pick one, mate.
I can't really pick between them.
Scissors, paper, rocket.
The stats say Zorks, but my brain says Will Ashcroft.
Well, what does your heart say?
My heart can't choose.
They
both had great games.
We can
They
give
get
them
half a point each.
Yeah, half a point each. Yeah, we'll just do that. When I make a graphic up for Instagram, it's going to be interesting because that's already 3 different players. And who have you got, Deb?
Mine is very much in line with Al's, Cam Rayner. As I said earlier, I think that was one of his easily top 5, probably top 3 games he's had for us. And it might not reflect it in the stats or in the, AFL fantasy points or whatever, but his impact was just so crucial at the points where we needed something. to happen, or we needed to settle, or we needed just something to inspire us, and he was just bang there. So his influence today on today's game was just beyond compare. And yeah,
There's guys that when they play well, you sort of don't specifically notice them. Like Josh Dunkley, sometimes he'll go out and get 25, 30, and then you'll think, oh, was he even there today?
he had a couple of shocking kicks today.
Yeah, no, look, he had a terrible game today. It's probably his worst game for the season, I think. And look, his disposal's never really the best anyway. But so in comparison, when Rayner does something, you really, really notice it. It really stands out. He can do 3 good things for a game that are more memorable than 20 good things another guy does.
Yep.
They stick more in your memory, and whether it's him just punching that big body through a pack or breaking a tackle or kicking one from outside 50. And I got to say too, Rayner and Zach Bailey kicking it inside the forward 50 when they're not having a shot at the goal, when they're trying to pass it or center it, actually really good to watch. When they're shooting for goal, sometimes you close your eyes and sometimes you don't. But when they're pumping the ball inside 50 from the center or wherever, something's happening in the footy.
One of the Roos players just missed a kicker goal from like 10 meters dead in front.
Yeah, I just saw that. I was going to say something about that.
Oh my God.
Did he at least get a point?
Yeah, he got a point.
No,
but that's like no pressure. There wasn't anyone on that. Gee, that reminds me of Cam Rayner's kicking sometimes. Love you, Cam. But sometimes you really miss right in front.
What's the margin there?
Not a lot.
Is it helpful?
19?
Okay, Carlton's 19. Still up.
I was just doing the maths in my head whilst you asked me that. So 19.
There you go. Now, I picked someone as my player of the week, and then I picked someone else, and then I was like Abbey. I couldn't decide between 2. And then I thought about when the game was there to be won or lost, and when we had our big resurgence, who's the guy we've talked about the most as being pivotal in that?
Hugh McCluggage.
That's my boy tonight. I'm going with Clugger.
That much behind Cam for me. Like if I could have picked 2, Hugh would have been my second.
Yeah, so. look, Rayner was up there as well with Zorko as well for me. And I said to Abbey throughout the game and just post-game that I thought Ashcroft was, for the first 3 quarters, was our most consistently good player.
Yes, I'd agree with that.
But I think football is about winning, especially this time of year and when you're trying to secure a top 4 spot. And McCluggage won the game for us, in my opinion.
Those back-to-back goals. Oh, I mean, he is my favourite player. Like, I love him to pieces.
We never knew that.
Abs, for you probably don't know, but he's actually the lock screen on my phone. Like, that's how much, and it's been the lock screen on my phone for like 5 years.
My lock screen's Will Ashcroft and Jasper Fletcher. It's a photo of both of them.
I approve of that wholeheartedly. But I just like his game. The only reason I didn't pick him over Cam was his first half. I felt like there were key things that he did that probably cost us more than it helped. And I just felt like Cam's just like, and again, it's not necessarily, as you said, about having the 30 disposals plus. It's what happens like when you need something to sort of get you going. And I feel like Cam's goal, that one that was out of the pack that nobody realised that it was Cam, and we all thought it was Oscar for like a good solid couple of seconds there until they started playing Sweet Caroline and they were like, oh my God, that was Cam. I feel like he stepped up more consistently throughout the game, but Hugh was definitely the game change. Like those 2 goals were just, I reckon Hugh's walked away with 3 good points today.
It's going to be interesting because nobody was consistently the best player on the ground for the entirety of the game. But I reckon if you were just giving the votes for that period of the game, you're having Shadow Brain in there as well. that last 10 minutes, he was phenomenal. And you could almost sneak Darcy Wilmot in there, as you said.
I was about to say, I'd put
yeah.
Motty in there if it was just the last 10
Yeah.
minutes. Motty is the one I noticed the most live at the game in the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You can see guys running patterns and what they're doing behind the ball and off the ball as well, where we miss it on TV. But then on TV, we pick up on other things because things get highlighted and so forth.
And replays happen.
Yeah, and the commentators are telling you who's doing what and what's happening, but then they're not always showing you the things that you can see at the ground, because obviously you can pick what you want to see on the ground.
Exactly.
Or,
I would like to say I really liked the last quarter towards the end because it actually played on our side of the ground for once. They never normally play on our side of the ground.
There you go. I reckon that just about sums everything up.
Yeah. Definitely.
Any final thoughts?
I'm just really pleased we had a win. Like, honestly, points there, I was like, oh, but at point, I picked, like, I wasn't expecting it to be 2 points, but I did pick it would be a roller coaster of a game, and that's absolutely what it was. It was a roller coaster. We didn't capitulate. We came back and we'd sort of get in front a little bit, and then they'd score a goal, and then we'd score a goal, and then they'd score a goal. And to have fought the way that we did against a team that is on top of the ladder and on top of the ladder for a reason.
Yeah. You tipped 2 goals, didn't you?
I said 13 points.
Yeah.
I wasn't far off.
I can't remember. I was pretty sure I picked a single figure margin, but I generally don't pick an actual margin. But was Country Roads played a 3/4 time?
No.
Oh, I got that wrong, man. We didn't hear it twice. Damn you. Al got his way finally. Abbey, got any final thoughts?
Yeah, I wish Jasper Fletcher had a better game so I could talk about him more.
Yeah, I'm with you. He had a couple of things where it was like, what are you doing, Jasper?
Yeah. He's had a pretty good run of form lately, but probably was one of his more quiet games today.
Yeah.
And obviously
very much so.
That midfield and wing structure has changed a bit since Will Ashcroft's come back in. Berry's playing back out on the wing on occasions as well.
Yep.
So that changes the dynamic of everything. But they'll sort it out as they usually do.
Yep.
All right.
That they will.
That does us. Have a good night. Enjoy your day at work tomorrow, and we'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Bye, guys.
Right. Good night.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, Abbey. It was really fun having you. I liked this.
I was very quiet, but that's okay.
Okay. We should have our social media manager on more.
I'm the best social media manager you can ever get.
You are.
You
absolutely are.
Don't ask for a pay rise.
Oh, I will.
Okay. I'll leave you guys to it. Have fun.
Yep.
But yeah.
All right. Good night.
Chat to you Wednesday, if not before. Bye.
Yeah.
This episode was produced by Steel Hat Productions. Please follow us and enable notifications to get our latest episodes anywhere podcasts are available. And don't forget to give us a 5-star review.